A guy in Arizona spent 17 days in jail for something he did not do, and he's blaming American Airlines.
What?
Exactly. The guy's blaming American Airlines for 17 years or 17 days in jail. Yeah, that'd be really bad if it was 17 years.
Yeah, it must have felt like 17 years.
Yeah. So,
is he saying that they put something in his bag?
Nope. You just gonna sit there and guess just all the
That's what we do around here.
Did American Airlines hear something ticking as he was walking on board?
All right, here's the deal. Arizona guy spent 17 days in jail. He was accused of a crime he didn't commit, and he says it's American Airlines' fault. So this guy spent 17 days in a New Mexico jail because he was wrongfully accused and identified to police as a shoplifter in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport.
Huh?
Guy filed a lawsuit yesterday. So, brand new lawsuit, just filed. Michael Lowe was on board an American Airlines flight at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. This is May of 2020, so really kind of as the pandemic is getting rolling. And then more than a year later, he said he was on vacation in New Mexico when he was arrested on warrants that he had never heard of for a crime that he never committed. And then for more than 2 weeks, he was held in the Quay County Jail in New Mexico at the beginning and the really nasty part of the pandemic. He said in grossly unsanitary conditions, and this is all outlined in his lawsuit, and he said that he didn't even find out what he was charged with until after he was released. He said, "I'd never heard of this fact pattern in my life or my career," said Lowe's attorney, Scott Palmer. If it can happen to him, it can happen to anyone. So what happened? What happened to this dude, Lowe?
Oh,
Who said, "Oh, God"?
I'm just excited.
Are you
Go ahead. I'm excited. You're doing a great job.
Are you being facetious here?
I'm not being
All right.
facetious.
All right. So, May 2020, a stranger shoplifted from a store inside the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, according to the suit. Surveillance cameras caught the suspect boarding a flight headed to Reno. But American Airlines reported the theft to the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport Police, which ordered the Fort Worth-based American Airlines to send over the footage and a passenger manifest showing everyone who boarded the flight. Instead, American Airlines, they did not follow established procedures, according to the lawsuit, and they sent police a single passenger's information, this guy Lowe.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh,
So, Mr. Lowe,
that's low.
Michael Lowe, hit a low point in his life.
Yeah, no kidding.
Lowe had been on the flight as a layover on a trip from Flagstaff to Reno, and at the time of the flight, Lowe had 2-inch long gray hair, wore a mask. Surveillance footage, screenshots, which are all in the lawsuit, shows a man with a military-style buzz cut wearing no mask, stealing several items. And total discrepancy in the appearances, but American Airlines identified this passenger, Michael Lowe, as the shoplifter seen in the surveillance footage. Then 14 months later, this dude was in New Mexico with his dogs visiting friends. At a 4th of July party, somebody called the police regarding a disturbance that was unrelated to Lowe. When police got there, they took everyone's information. So they're starting to run the IDs of all the people there, even though this guy had no part of the disturbance. And that's when it popped up that he had 2 outstanding warrants.
Oh.
Wow.
Is that not unbelievable? So he's
Crazy.
he's arrested on the spot, and he spends an excruciating 17 days in jail in the height of the pandemic.
So what are they suing for? There's got to be a huge lawsuit.
Well,
now.
it's false imprisonment, all kinds of stuff here. So he says that he was ordered to strip naked, forced to bend over and cough.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
He had to do the cavity search.
Oh.
They don't let you in the party unless you get the search.
That's
Apparently,
dramatic.
Johnny Depp performed the cavity search, apparently.
Let me leave all my rings on.
He was put into the Gen Pop quarantine pod. He was housed alongside people accused of violent crimes, according to the lawsuit. This is nuts. He was at risk of catching COVID-19.
He was at risk of a lot more.
The next 17 days, he was traumatized repeatedly by conditions in the jail, according to the lawsuit. He slept on a concrete floor, didn't get much rest. The suit describes the violent outbursts in the packed unit of just crazy inmates in there. Wow. So this thing's going to go to court, and I would imagine this guy has some serious damages. So after Lowe had been in jail for 8 days, he was taken to a local judge. So 8 days in jail before a local judge saw him. He still had no information on why he was there. The judge told him his only options were to waive extradition, in which New Mexico would deliver him to Texas, or wait for Texas authorities to pick him up. So he waived extradition based on the court's suggestion. He was sent back to jail. After the court appearance, Lowe's suffering, according to the lawsuit, became most acute as the detention appeared to be without any end in sight. He still did not know why he'd been arrested. On the 17th day in jail, officers told Lowe that he was being released. He took the clothes he arrived in and was sent out of jail without any information on why he was there in the first place. He walked miles to a McDonald's where he waited at a bus stop, tried to clean himself in the McDonald's bathroom, but he was kicked out by staff.
Right? He looks like a bum now, right?
The bus ride to Flagstaff was 12 hours, but then the bus broke down during the process. It took him 2 days before he made it to his home in Flagstaff, Arizona. Wow, is that unbelievable? Anyway, charges were dropped, and now the guy's suing. He decided to find a lawyer after weeks of searching for one that he could afford. He found a lawyer, and now he's filing a lawsuit. You know, the surveillance video shows that it was somebody else that shoplifted the goods at the airport. American Airlines turned over this one passenger name instead of the passenger list. Just a lot of mistakes here. So he says that American Airlines, their mistake shook this guy to his core.
Wow.
Good. I hope he gets paid.
Well, you know, he works as a tour guide in the Grand Canyon. That's his gig.
That's his job.
Wait, is that a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, it is a joke?
No, it's not
okay.
a joke. No,
That's
it's
his job.
I thought you were just about to say like a punchline.
What's the joke there?
It seemed like it was a setup for a joke.
What's the joke? He works as a tour guide in the Grand Canyon.
I can think of a tour guide Grand Canyon prison joke. But
I mean, seriously, I thought that's where you were going.
Ties back to airlines. Yeah.
So Michael Lowe's lawsuit accuses American Airlines of negligence for wrongfully identifying him. American could have given police a list of passengers as the police requested.
What a nightmare.
Instead, they chose to conduct their own, quote, negligent investigation. I blame American Airlines, said the lawyer Palmer for Mr. Lowe. That without American doing what they did, the detective never would have issued a warrant. It all starts with the disclosure of his name and name only. Is that not unbelievable? Can you imagine in the U.S. thrown in jail for 17 days without knowing what you're being charged with? I mean, this sounds like a complete constitutional violation.
I say there's a bunch of things that are wrong here.
Yeah.
My God, he might actually win like an American 777 for his own use.
Here's your plan,
Good.
sir.
Man, that is a crazy story.